welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain.
I'm Lynn.
And today we're going to be counting down our top 10 most anticipated games for Gen Con 2019. So basically, these are games that we saw on the release list. I'll put a link to the release list down below over on Board Game Geek, and in the comments, that is. And these are all games that we want to buy. We actually have a few more that didn't quite make the list that we also want to buy. But these are all games that are for sale at Gen Con 2018. So they were either released at Gen Con or shortly before Gen Con, so they're on the list for sale. And they're games that we would like to get our hands on if we can. We're excited about. So this is our top 10 anticipated games. Now, we do have an honorable mention that we wanted to mention because it's not going to be for sale. It's going to be for demo. But if they had it for sale, it probably would have been the number one on both our lists. And that game is, why don't you say it?
Starfarers Kaptain.
It's actually, I think it's Kaptain Starfarers.
I couldn't remember.
It used to be, well, the original game was Starfarers of Kaptain.
So now it's Kaptain Starfarers?
Now it's Kaptain
Is there
Starfarers.
a colon?
No, it's just like Big Kaptain Starfarers.
Okay.
I don't know. But the thing is, it's a reworking, it's a new edition, a reworking of Starfarers of Kaptain, now called Kaptain Starfarers. And we were such huge fans of that game back in the day that if that were for sale, it would be number one on both our lists. As it is, it's only going to be for demo. So we're going to do our damnedest to see if we can get a demo in. We're going to try to get signed up, but there might be a rush for those. So it might be difficult.
The last demo slot on Sunday, maybe, when everyone's just tired and cranky and wants to go home.
Yeah, it might happen that way. So we'll see what we can do. We're going to try to get a demo filmed if we can of that, because I'd really like to get that on film and show you guys what the new edition is going to look like. But without any further ado, do you want to go first or second with your numbers?
I'll go first.
So without any further ado, we're going to get to our number 10s on our list of top 10 anticipated games of Gen Con. Number 10.
My number 10 is Planetoid. It is a tile memory game where you are a miner. You're trying to mine minerals from planets. It's basically, if anyone's played Mass Effect, I think it was Mass Effect.
Oh my god, you're right!
Mass Effect 2 had the mining thing, which I personally enjoyed. I would spend hours mining planets, and everyone else
hated that thing except you!
Yes. So, it's basically that, but in board game form.
Okay.
It's
well, there's obviously someone else who liked it, the designer.
Yeah. So, it seems like there's tiles all face down, and you can do multiple things during your turn. You can peek at tiles and then turn them back face down, or flip over a tile, and you have to do something with collecting minerals and then trading them in.
I suck at memory games, but this one sounds interesting, and I like the sci-fi theme. I'll definitely play this with you. I'll have to check that out. So my number 10 is Claim. Now, this is a tiny little card game. It seems to be like a
Claim, like C-L-A-I-M?
Correct.
Okay.
Like I stake my claim.
Okay.
Or like I claim to be Teddy Roosevelt. Okay. Or something like that, which I don't do. But anyway, it's a tiny little card game. And it seems to be like a bizarre new take on a two-player trick-taking game. Now, I'm a big fan of trick-taking games. And so far, we've only got one two-player trick-taking game in the collection. And that is Fox in the Forest, which I love. Love that game. But this has this new interesting set collection mechanic where there's different reasons to want to collect cards from certain suits. Having the most of certain suits can be beneficial or detrimental. There are cards that you can throw when your opponent is going to take the trick that would be bad for them to have. And it seems really interesting. It's got a really cool kind of theme and some quirky artwork. And that's why it's my number 10, and that is Claim. Number 9.
My number 9 is Thieves' Den. It's a card game where you're playing a thief, and you have to loot certain places, and then take it to a fence and sell your merchandise. And
wow, this sounds thoroughly like a simulation of being a criminal. Wow, that's really up your alley. So, okay, that sounds interesting. It's a smaller game then,
yeah,
right?
I believe it's just a card game. Its cards represent the different areas.
That sounds interesting. All right. So my number 9 is Tales of Glory. This has kind of a generic fantasy theme on it, and it looked like when I first looked at it, I was like, "Oh, is this going to be like another one of those like, dungeon crawlers or adventure type games?" But it's not. It's really not. It has this bizarre, interesting, like almost like city building mechanic with tiles that you get. You get the tiles by sending people on adventures, and the tiles have symbols that will link together with other tiles, and if you link them together in the right way, they give you special abilities. And I was looking at this and I was like, oh my god, this looks so cool. Like, I want this game. So like, it has this fantasy theme, and you can send adventurers on adventures to then get you the tiles. But then the main thing is linking the tiles together in the right way to get you points or new abilities. And it looks really cool. I was definitely very intrigued by it, and that is Tales of Glory. Number 8.
My number 8 is Ishtar, Gardens of Babylon. It's a tile laying game about trying to build the best garden in the desert. And
it was designed by Bruno Cathala, who designed 5 Tribes, which is 100% the reason it's on our radar. You could mention that.
I could, but you did.
Well, okay. so that was number 8?
Yes.
Ishtar?
My number 8.
Okay, my number 8 is Parks, Parks is a game about visiting national parks, and it uses the old, like, park tourism posters, and it's designed by the same designer who made a game that we reviewed a while back called Space Park, which you can tell this guy has a love of the theme. Though it's not a reskinning of the same game. It's a totally new game, and I was looking at it. It looked interesting. I love his quirky, nostalgic 50s travel poster art style. He did a similar thing for Space Park, except now he's using the actual travel posters they've gotten the rights to. And that is my number 8, Parks. Number 7.
My number 7 is Dark Domains. It is a game where all the players play evil like wizards, and you're trying to build, I think it's like city building. You're trying to build the best city.
The best evil domain.
Yes. The
best dark domain.
But also like, it's like there's like a king who doesn't realize you're evil, so you're trying to build the best city, but not be too evil, because then the king will be like, hey, what's going on?
Interesting.
If I'm remembering,
so you want to be evil and nefarious without being caught? Is
yes.
that kind of? Oh, it sounds interesting. What's that called?
Dark Domains.
Okay, all right. That sounds like an interesting one. I would definitely play that. So my number 7 is Century Golem Edition Eastern Mountains. Now, apparently, as they had gone and re-released Century Spice Road as Century Golem Edition later, which was apparently the original intended theme, they're now doing the same thing with the sequel game. So Eastern Mountains, I believe, is the reskinning of Eastern Wonders, which I have not played because I find the themes on the standard set that spun off of Century Spice Road to be really yawn-inducing. But I love Century Golem Edition, and that's why this new sequel game to Century Golem Edition has made it to my list, because it is the cool mechanics with the better theme, in my opinion. And that is my number 7, Century Golem Edition, Eastern Mountains. Number 6.
My number 6 is Extraordinary Adventures Pirates. And it is a game where you are a pirate traveling around the Caribbean doing piratey things.
Use cards for movement, I think, in that one.
Robbing ships, going to port, and burying treasure and drinking rum.
This is one I pointed out to you because you had somehow missed this on the list. And then I went, Lynn, how did you not see this? This is like one you would totally like.
I think the cover looks...
kind of cartoony.
Yeah, it looks really kiddie-ish, and I was like, oh, that's for
Yeah, but then I looked at the board and read the rules, and I was like, oh, that'd be a Lynn game. And I pointed that out to you, and you're like, oh, I didn't even notice that. So what is that called again?
Extraordinary Adventures Pirates?
Extraordinary Adventures Pirates. So my number 6 is Era, Medieval Age. Anyway, Era is a interesting sort of game where you draft three-dimensional plastic medieval buildings and then put them on your board to build a three-dimensional medieval city. And you have to build the best medieval city to win. And they had me at building a three-dimensional medieval city. I was like, yes, I want to do that. It looks really cool. It's got a plastic board with plastic buildings, and I love games that let me build something. So that one had me really excited, and that's why Era made it to my list as my number 6 anticipated game for Gen Con 2019. Number 5.
My number 5 is Nine Tiles Panic. It's a tile laying, well, I think it's more a tile arranging game, because I think you start out with all your tiles and then you have to arrange them in a way to fulfill certain goals. Like
making a path.
Yeah, I don't know if it's making a path. The one of the examples I remember is have the most dogs or something touching. So I guess there's, you have to arrange it so the tiles that match up has a clear path of like lots of dogs, apparently. There are other things too, but that's literally the only one I remember.
Offhand.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's that called again?
Nine Tiles Panic. I'm guessing it's a 3x3 thing, and you're panicking to put the tiles in the right place.
It's real time on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. It sounds like it's got some similarities to like Mesozoic and Woodlands, which you're both big fans of.
But I think it sounds like there's random goals. Like there's going to be a deck of goals, so it's not always like...
It's going to be different each time. Okay, that could be interesting. So my number 5 is the Towers of Arkanos. Now, the Towers of Arkanos allow you to build three-dimensional towers. I'm not making this up. So, okay, it's really cool though. So apparently you have you start out with the base of the towers out there, which are these circles, these circle cardboards pieces, and they have symbols which show you what kind of things can go in different places. And then you roll dice, and you're able to draft dice and meeples. And what you do is you're wanting to draft them to then place them on the spots in the tower. And once you fill all the spots where the pillars need to go in with meeples and dice, you put the next level of the tower on, and you can keep going. So there's a lot in it that reminds me of some other games I've quite liked, like, for instance, Pagoda and Patrician, which are games that I'm a big fan of. And I love games that let you build three-dimensional stuff. I just get a kick out of that. So I was reading about this one, Towers of Arkanos, and it's why it made my number 5. I'm really excited to try it. Number 4.
My number 4 is Point Salad. It is exactly what it sounds like. Apparently, there's over 100 different ways to score points.
Wait, what?
That's what it says.
How can you possibly keep track of that?
I don't know, but I am so excited.
Is this? I think I saw this on the email that this is going to be included in the AEG Big Game Network. So we're definitely getting this.
Yes.
But wow.
But it is and it's also a pun because it's like you have vegetables and you're trying to make a salad.
That's so AEG. That is so an AEG thing to do. I mean, they love to do punderful games.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love puns and I love point salads.
What number did that make it to?
It's 4.
Wow. That's really... I'm surprised that beat out some of those others that are on your list already. So my number 4 is a crossover. It is our first, and I think maybe our only crossover on our anticipated list. But there's a good reason for it. It is Ishtar, the Gardens of Babylon, and it is, again, the main reason why it's on both our radars. It was designed by Bruno Catala. And, oh my god, he's amazing. If he's one of the designers of any game, I will be interested to at least know more. And then I was looking at it, and the mechanics sounded interesting, and I said, that's going on my list. I want to get that game. So, first crossover, Ishtar, Gardens of Babylon, as my number 4 game. Number 3.
My number 3 is Cat Cafe. It is a roll and write, or roll and draw, because you have a cat tower, and you roll dice, and according to what the dice say, you can draw a specific cat toy on a certain level of the cat tower. And it's probably going to be something like certain toys on a certain level get you extra points or whatever. So it's not... I mean, would you say roll and write or roll and draw? I mean, you're still writing. Well, you're drawing. I don't know. You're drawing cat toys on a cat tower.
Rolling. Okay. Rolling. Okay. I guess still roll and write probably.
Yeah.
Even if you're not writing words.
I mean, they had me at cat toys and cat tower.
So you were excited. Yeah. Okay. It's a fun theme.
Yeah.
And I like that it's a very different theme. It's not something you don't often see. Like, well, it's kind of like Cat Lady.
Yeah.
But other than Cat Lady, I can't think of any other games recently about being a crazy cat lady. Okay, so my number 3 most anticipated game for Gen Con 2019 is Shobu. Now, if you're a fan of my channel, you know that unlike many of the other game reviewers out there, I am a huge fan of abstract strategy games. There are very few of us YouTube game reviewers that are nuts for abstract strategy games, but I am one of them. And this is a new abstract strategy game that has me intrigued, unbelievably intrigued. They've got this very interesting thing. So there's 4 boards. 4. And you've got stones on the boards. And you got to move your pieces to push your opponent's stones off the board. So far sounds pretty basic, except every time you move a stone, you have to pick one of your other stones on one of the other boards and move it in the exact same direction. So you have to coordinate and be careful, because moving on one board might really put you in an advantageous position while it hurts you on a different board. And that's brilliant. And I can't wait to see how that works. And that's why it's my number.
It sounds like that mouse guard game, Swords and Strongholds, but with 4.
Yeah, but with 4 boards.
Yeah.
It's definitely got some similarities, except it doesn't have the card play like the Mouse Guard Swords and Strongholds does. But yes, because of how you can push the pieces off in Mouse Guard, I would say there is some similarities for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if the designer of this one was a fan of that game. But it does look really interesting, and that is Shobu, and I know it's going to be a game I'll play with Alex. We'll see if you like it. You like certain abstracts, not all of them. But that's why I'm really excited for it, and that's why Shobu made my number 3 game on my list of top anticipated games for Gen Con 2019. Number 2.
My number 2 is hats. It is... What's so funny?
The name of the game is just funny. Hats. It makes me laugh. Hats.
It's a set collecting game where it's Alice in Wonderland themed. You are a Mad Hatter, and you are trying to find the best hat to wear to the tea party. So you are set collecting different hats and trying to get the biggest and bestest and most pointiest, most point worthy, most point gaining hat. Yeah. Hats.
Okay, then. My number 2 game on my list is a game that seems to have been getting a lot of buzz. Res Arcana. So this is a game where you are enemy wizards fighting over a land, but it's not a battle game. It's got a lot of bizarre different mechanics, like a lot of Euro game mechanics in there. And very few people are having negative things to say about this game. It has a lot of ratings already, and its average rating is like above 8 stars, which is insane on Board Game Geek. So just based on that alone, and the buzz I've been hearing about it from other people, and how just a really good game it is, it got me interested, and I want to check it out. And that is Res Arcana. And now it is time for number 1. Oh, it's time for our number 1s, right? Ooh, should I do a drum roll? No? Oh, boring. So what's your number 1 then?
My number 1 is Choose Your Own Adventure: War with the Evil Power Master.
Oh, I didn't realize that hadn't made your list yet. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, I have this Choose Your Own Adventure book, and I have read it.
You also played the other game.
Yes,
we had the other game.
Yes, I played the other game.
We played the whole campaign.
Yes.
What was the other one called?
House of Danger.
House of Danger, right?
both House of the books, House of Danger and War with the Evil Power Master, are some of my favorite Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Well, they did a poll.
Yeah, they did a poll, and I voted for, like, it wasn't really a poll. They didn't have options. They were just like, what's the next Choose Your Own Adventure book you want to see as a game? And I wrote a bunch of them. I think I wrote like 5 different ones, and War with the Evil Power Master was one of them.
Well, apparently a lot of people put it because they picked it, so.
It is, I wasn't quite sure if they were going to do this, because I think War, there's 2 books with the Power Master, and I think this is the sequel book. I should have checked before. I didn't think of it until just now.
No, maybe.
I know he's there's like one book where the player discovers that he's a thing, and then I think the War with the Evil Power Master is the sequel where you're actually like fighting him.
I mean, that's the more interesting book, though. So this would be less of a exploration theme, more of a conflict theme.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I liked the first one a lot, actually. Not as much as you did. You were gaga over the first one. I liked it. We played the whole campaign, and I enjoyed it. And after I've forgotten, I'm willing to play it again. It's still in our collection. But I will be quite interested to try this one. So that's your number 1, huh? Choose Your Own Adventure. War with the Power Master.
Evil Power Master.
Okay, one more time. Say it.
Choose Your Own Adventure. War with the Evil Power Master.
And that's your number 1.
Yes.
So my number 1 is Cloudspire. So this game looks really cool. Instead of boards, they have big neoprene mats that fit together like a puzzle. And the game, it has like resource management and plays kind of with a theme of like tower defense. You build towers to defend yourself against guys that your opponent sends out to attack you. Apparently, you just sort of send guys out and they just go on a path towards your opponent's castle, and it's like, how do you balance your resources? Do you spend more resources on defense? Do you spend more on offense? And it sounded really cool, especially because there's things you can do to alter the board during the game. So the game is about like these floating islands in this mystical land that have come together, and the forces on the different islands are now fighting. But there's like spells and stuff you can do to add land, take away land, sort of to alter the board. And that sounded really interesting to me. Plus, I love tower defense video games, and I was like, oh, this got kind of a tower defense theme to it. So it really kind of sparked my interest. Plus, I like the art style. So that is Cloudspire, and I can't wait to check that out. That is my number 1. So there you have it. These are our top 10 most anticipated games for Gen Con 2019. And there was only one crossover, which is Bruno Cathala, so he deserves to be a crossover. It was, the name of the game, again, is Ishtar. The name of what most people think is the worst movie ever made, but possibly a good board game.
What are you talking about?
There was a movie called Ishtar that's generally regarded as one of the worst movies ever made.
I've never heard of it.
Consider yourself lucky.
Okay.
So, there you have it. If you guys are really excited about games that we did not mention on either of our lists, put it in the comments down below. Let us know what games you are looking forward to that are being released at Gen Con. And a quick side note, if you're wondering why it was that I did not have the Wings of Glory, tripods, and triplanes on my list, being how much I love games by those designers and that style of game, it's because I've had that one pre-ordered from an online retailer way back since last year, because it was supposed to be coming out before the end of last year. So I'll not be picking it up at Gen Con. It's going to be being mailed to me once it comes out. I've already prepaid for it, and that's why it did not make my list. It would have made my list if I had not already pre-ordered it. But put in the comments down below. Let us know what you guys are anticipating. And if you enjoyed this top 10 list and you'd like to see us do more like it, give it a like. Share it on all forms of social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. That's Kaptain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.